Shalom guys, listen, we're back and today we're talking about running, okay? I get a lot of questions about this all the time. People will ask me, Nico, how are you able to run? You have all this muscle, right? And you know guys, I'm big on ultra marathons, I'm big on marathons. It's a super transformative process, being able to run. What it does to your mind. If you're someone who overthinks, yeah, you should get into running. So this video is more on the side of people just starting out with running. They want to get better. Maybe they haven't even done it before, then you should listen to this. If you're someone who's more advanced, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But hey, feel free to stick through it, and maybe, most likely, I'll blow your mind with some pretty cool concepts here, because I'm not going from the traditional way of doing this. I have a different way of looking at it, which I base off my military experience and pretty much everything I do with the Muay Thai, and you know when you're in the military, you're doing CQB training and all this stuff, and you have to learn it like in rapid, real fast, right? So we're trying to get you to run really fast, not in the sense that you're running super fast like Sonic, but we want to get you up to a higher level quite quick, right? So I'm going to explain how we do that using this philosophy, okay? As you know, guys, we're built for running. You know, we're on two legs. We have the ability to sweat all over, unlike any other animal out there. And that's essentially how we hunted back in the days. We would just jog after animals, and then once they lay down because they were exhausted, we could just step up and do the job, right? And so we're built for this. So, like everyone who thinks they're not built for running, you're wrong, okay? Because you're human. You're just human, just like me, right? So we can go out there and run. This is what we're doing. And so when you're starting out, because a lot of these days, in the modern days, we're not doing this much, right? The repetitions aren't there. Key point. We're sitting down and doing all this, and so we see a lot of people all the time with this funny running forms, and it doesn't really look that streamlined and nice. And we're going to solve that issue today, right? Because a lot of people have this thing. I had that too in the past about, I felt, is my running? Am I running properly? Oh, I'm like when I was really first starting out running, I was like, oh, I can't run. People are going to look because I can't run. I don't know if I'm running properly, right? Some people might have that. This was back, when I was like a teenager and stuff, doing cardio after my weight session. But I'm going to solve that issue for you guys in record time, okay? So with that, when it comes to running, right, since we're built for that, essentially what we need to do, since this is the modern times, is that we need to go into a phase of skill acquisition and learning how to run. The best way of going about learning that is to run, of course. Be genius. Nico, you're a genius. How did you figure that one out? Well, I did it first and foremost, but to improve the running as a beginner, you do not need to improve your cardiovascular health. You do not need to do that. You do not need to improve your muscles, any of that. That will come along with it. The one key factor is the running form. Because what happens when you increase running form is that efficiency improves. Your ability to just, go the distance it's heightened just because you're much more efficient in your stride. That's the way you progress with this, from zero to hero, essentially. And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of coaches will tell you to go into all these, variable factors of, oh, you need to increase by this much percentage. Oh, increase by this much percentage. You need to run this fast for this amount of time. And I'm here to tell you that that doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. And I'm gonna just tell you this, like when I was training Muay Thai, when I was doing the stuff in the military, it's not about how intense it is, it's about how often. And I'm a big fan of this frequency point. I make this in a lot of my videos, but it's very true for this running. This is how I've coached multiple dozens of clients on, starting from zero, essentially to starting running. Because I'm a big runner, guys. I do ultra marathons, I do marathons, I love that stuff. And so the fact that we're not going from that point also, like, oh, you need to increase by this percentage, this amount of miles, it makes it so simple for you. That's why I like it. The single most important thing you can focus on as a beginner is how often can you run. It's the most important thing. Because for any skill that we try to develop, guys, how often we immerse ourselves in that environment and how many repetitions we can get in, that's the most important thing to focus on. When you're trying to learn boxing, if you're showing up every day, then you're gonna get better at boxing. If you want to learn how to shoot a gun, then how often you're on the range, that's gonna determine how good you become. And so, for anything, it's much better to go by frequency, how often you're doing the thing, than doing like a long stint and then time off. Long stint and time off. And the worst thing I see people do in the beginning is go out for a long run, okay? Because what happens is that, number one, you fucking hate it, right? You hate that stuff, right? You resent it. Oh my God, this sucks. Why am I getting into running, right? This is a really bad thing. Bad coaches do this too. Like they push too hard on the button in the beginning, and people just start resenting it, right? Oh, this isn't what I signed up for. Oh, this isn't what I want to do, right? When in reality, it can be a really good process. We don't want to do that. And number two, the way the body responds is by self-destroying, essentially. You know, you're gonna get so sore because number one, your form is off, and two, you don't have the capacity built up, perhaps, of, you know, going to that distance, especially with that form. And the form point is so important for this. What happens if you start running like wrong is that you start taking a toll, like stuff compensates in different areas than just your leg muscles or your cardiovascular system. And what happens then is that something is gonna break down eventually. And usually what that looks like is knees, most likely. The knees are gonna take a toll for that. That's just usually really common, right? And so when you're starting running, guys, the most important thing is to focus on your form. Take videos, to just look at the form. Does it look good? Does it look streamlined? How does it feel? I tell this to people all the time. Are you focused on every single step? When I was starting out running, I had I was like training for rucks in the military, so I was running like this. Not with the arms here though, I was just pretending to have a rucksack on, but my run would be really what's it called, shuffling. I would shuffle and I would pick my legs up and I would run like really square, because that's what you do when you're having a backpack on. You compensate for the backpack, and so that would carry on into my running. So the way I improved that point was that I focused on, we had our platoon PT. That was like, he was standing on the sidelines while we were running, and I was like asking out loud, how does it look? Does it look better? And I was trying to, I got feedback, of course, which is great. Like if you can work with someone on this, that's of course good. And then I was like, okay, I'm trying to just push back with my legs more to see if to activate my glutes and all that stuff. I was checking every little detail when it comes to like my stride, my length of my stride and my gait and all this stuff. So this is really a good point and really, really important point, because it doesn't have to be the longest run, but it has to be a very concentrated run. This is down to the point where it doesn't even feel exhausting, because we're not supposed to exhaust ourselves. We're just learning a new movement pattern here. That's all we're doing. We're learning a new movement pattern. And once that movement pattern, the funny thing is that once we improve the running and improve the movement pattern, the form, is that we become so much more efficient, right? And that is essentially what creates our capacity to, perform better. It's not the fact that our hearts are, performing any better, which of course they will, right? It's like a lever. So this is like the form and the efficiency of your run. And then it's like you go up at this, and this might just improve this, but your overall level will be like this, because the efficiency will be there. And so you won't then you can start talking about volume, then you can start talking about intensity. But we solve the issues of injury. And so instead of progressively overloading, like a lot of people will tell you, like, oh, increase by this amount of percentage and increase by this amount of running time or how fast. The only goal in your beginning as a runner should be how often can you go out and run. And you can even program it so that you should do it more often and you should do less work. Do less work, essentially. So this will feel like a very easy process to you, because you don't have to, so that's why I'm saying this, because this doesn't have to be a really difficult process that you have to go all David Goggins mode and become some savage in the process, which you will become, but it's not the starting point of all this. It can be a really good, good process, something that you feel really good about, and not feel like much of a chore. Because what happens with form, right? You start, running bad and all this stuff, and it leads to all these injuries. So when it comes to so this is what I say for people when it comes to the volume and the intensity point, is that, because there are multiple ways of thinking about this, failure point, and when we want to stop our exercise, right? Most of the time, and especially for muscle stuff, we want to go to muscular failure, not being able to lift the arm up anymore, right? There are multiple types of failure. Form failure, performance type failure, muscular failure. Failure can be decided at any point, essentially. Failure is not like, oh, your muscles can be this, right? Depending on your goal, you can decide where the point of, stopping the exercise is. For someone who's like an Olympic athlete, they might take a lactate measurement and be like, okay, when we hit this like point, we're going to stop the exercise. We're going to do this instead, right? Maybe some genius plan like that, right? They might have that. So that might be their point of like failure. Oh, you went above this? Okay, now the session is done. Something like that. And for muscular failure, of course, we want to go to like the point of, we can't lift the biceps anymore, for example. Now for this, for running, this is really, really important. The point of failure as a beginner, the point of failure when you stop exercising is when form is compromised. When form is compromised and you're under stress, like when you're stressed, that's where injury happens. That's always where injury happens. You see this in the gym too. When form is compromised and you start putting on the weight, boom, something is gonna snap. And it's the same with running. And that's why we solve this problem by using a frequency as the main driver for our progressive overload instead of all these other metrics. Because we can't go back to exercise selection, which is one of them, right? Because there's only way to improve our running, which is run, right? And of course supportive movements, right? But that's not gonna, we can't do just that. We have to run also. And so that's essentially where we're stopping the exercise. Once form fails, we're done. And as I said, it's not about going the longest distance in the beginning. It's not going about, doing the hardest runs you can. It's only about showing up and practicing the skill of running. That's what we're doing. If you guys want to, look into like making a training plan for this, go every day. Go and run every single day. Just like you would go and do the punches every day. Learn how to punch, learn how to slip, dodge, do all this stuff. Just like you would go to a gun range. And like when you're doing all this stuff, bam, 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 punches, right? You're not going the most intensely. You're not hard sparring. When you go into the gun range, you're not staying there for 3 hours. Because it's much better to show up every single day for a short amount of time. Really intense focus. Like I said, focusing on your stride, focusing on all the details, taking video. Don't zone out to some YouTube video. Don't do it, okay? Just for 15 minutes, just for 10 minutes, focus on your stride. Focus on the way you're running, and you'll see the results. And it's just like for the gun range. If you're focusing on, I'm doing this when I'm presenting my weapon. I'm looking at the weapon before looking at the target. When I should be looking at the target and letting the weapon follow. It's just like this. Like all of these details, you dial them in. And so what happens is that you start to recognize the movement pattern that makes you more efficient. That feels the best. So you can go. It doesn't really have to be like a set standard. It can usually just be, but this feels the best way. But you're not gonna expose that what feels the best way without going through this. We're not actually trying to make it more efficient. So all this stuff, like I said, boom, boom, boom. We're just getting the reps in. Every single step you take on the treadmill is a repetition. Okay, so when it goes to like the form and focusing on that, there's some stuff you should focus on. There's posture, it's stride length, it's foot placement, and it's lifting your legs up. How much you're lifting your legs up and how much you're kicking back. Okay, focus on those 5, I believe. Sorry to have to give you 5 there, but you can choose like just 2 of these and focus on those at a certain amount of time. But if you can get all these dialed in, you'll be really in a really good position. When it comes to like foot placement, especially, this is a really, really big point for like beginners, is that the feet are always, the Donald Duck, like have you walk like this? People sometimes run with their feet. I'm going to show you like that. This is from looking from above, right? So you look at your feet and they're placed like this and they run. Don't do that, okay? When you run, your feet are this. They're aligned. Dun, 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 dun. Okay? Big point. Get those right, okay? All you have to do is look down when you run. That's all you have to do to fix this. Bum, 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 bum. And something also people do is they do what I did in the beginning, which is kind of shuffle, so you don't pick your legs up. Pick your legs up, guys, okay? And try. Over-exaggerate this stuff. Try and pick your legs up way, way too high, okay? Almost like you're trying to do like a long jump, like an Olympic lifter, not Olympic, what is it called? Pole vault? Yeah, almost like those guys, right? Like those guys. Try and do that, okay? Just exaggerate the movements, and then, because what happens when you exaggerate movements is that you find like the middle ground, and that usually becomes something you can do repetitions on. So that's some parts of what you should look for. I would suggest you do a video, okay, of yourself. Get a friend to film it for you. Film it yourself. Use just set up your phone and record it. And then you will quickly see what's wrong. Video recording yourself for anything that you want skill to improve skill on is probably the most underrated thing ever. It's like everyone should take videos. Videos. I hear a lot of people, all the time talk about like, oh, you shouldn't be able to record in the gyms. Well, you should, okay? For the right reasons, of course. Not if you're some TikTok girl you want to show off your panties, right? What the hell are people even wearing to the gym these days? My God, I'll make a full video on that. What the hell? But that's some things you can do. To break it down really simple, right? Run as often as you can. Don't run to exhaustion. Focus on the basics of your gait, posture, your stride length, your foot placement, your foot directions of your feet, how much you're swinging your arms, all of that stuff. And you do that, let's say you do that for 4 weeks. After those 4 weeks, right? You show up every other day for 4 weeks and run just 1 kilometer. Okay, do that for me. And then the next 4 weeks, I'm giving you a plan here. Then the next 4 weeks, you're gonna run every day. And then after that, after those 8 weeks, you're gonna be really good at running. I swear to God. It's so easy once you get started with this. You just have to be a part of it, and it doesn't have to. And if you want to stop during any point of the exercise and just relax, that's kind of fine too. Because you don't want to go to a point where you're going past form failure. Because now you're essentially going into a point where injury is, you're slowly walking a path towards injury. And if you're getting to the point where you're getting injured, then the whole point is lost of this. Because we want to develop the skill, and if you're injured, we can't develop the skill. So it's like, okay, don't push the, what's it called? Don't take the string too far. I don't know, these English things. But yeah, don't take it too far when it comes to this in the beginning. Once you have developed that level of form and consistency of it, then you put on all this stuff of volume, of intensity, of, okay, I'm increasing by this much a week now. I'm increasing by this much a week. So for anyone starting out doing marathons, do this, okay? You want to run a marathon? Go and run every single day up until your marathon. Take 1 day off before your marathon. If you just if all you want to do is survive the marathon, then this is key. Because if you don't have your form in place, you're going to waste so much energy, and you're going to come to the finish line and your leg's going to be destroyed, which it probably will be in the beginning. But at least you get through it if you do this, and you probably will do it without getting injured. So this is huge if you're doing this. But I'll make a full video on the marathoning and getting into ultras and stuff like that very, very soon. So stay tuned for that, and of course subscribe below if you'd like to see that. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. I probably repeated myself on a few points, but I just want to hammer down the point of frequency, a point of form failure, and how you should essentially go about it. If you guys have any questions, you can just comment down below. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care and God bless. Boom!